Could somebody please make it make sense?
Everyone, welcome to another episode of the Make It Make Sense podcast. I am your host, Face, and I am joined once again by the beautiful Skyler. Hello, Skyler.
Hello, Face.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. You look great tonight.
Thank you. Right. This was like a quick 15-minute get-together.
Just something quick for you. That's quick. Cool. You do it so well. Here, let me fix your earring. That's how nice I'm going to be. Look at that. I don't even know. Can I just flip it?
Can you?
Wow, look at that. This is what I do. Right? It's called enhancement.
Thanks.
Okay, but we're back again. All right, I'm glad that we got that first episode out the way, and I want to thank everyone who listened to the first episode, who gave me their feedback on the first episode, who gave me their kudos and appreciation and their criticisms. Like I appreciate all of it, man. Like I'm trying to make the best podcast possible. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the first episode, it was a good one. I mean, what'd you think? Like,
I thought it was great.
People loved you, man. Like, they loved you way more than they loved me. You know what I mean? And that's something that it's expected, because I talk bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you look great.
I might be more personable.
I mean, from the last episode, right? I will say this. Fine. Y'all win. Okay? You win. I feel like Offset. Sometime in the future, will buy Skyler some jewelry. I get all of these fucking people who keep hitting me up and talking, yo, Face, you gotta get us some jewelry. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You corny, get some like, yo, my brother-in-law
Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, for real, shout out to y'all. Because if it wasn't for y'all, I promise you, jewelry would have, it
would be another 20 years, y'all, before I get a necklace or an anklet.
It's not another, see, now you're exaggerating. It's not another 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Why would you say that to these people? Like, I would never get it for you. Eventually, I'm going to run out of creative ideas, okay? I think that I'm pretty great at gifts. You know what I'm saying? For example, this big-ass 8-foot bear that's sitting behind me right now, right? You see this? I just brought this into the shot because you never use it, like I said last time. And so I felt like we're going to put it to use as, like, background. You know what I mean?
Okay.
No, it's good. It looks good to me.
I like them.
All right, bet. You never use them. That's all I'm saying. But I will satisfy the people, and I will buy Skyler some jewelry. But that's neither here nor there, right? We got some good shit to talk about. I mean, are you ready?
Yeah, definitely. Let's dive into it.
Are you ready? Because things are about to get serious. Last episode, a little lighthearted, right? Got into some relationship stuff, you know what I mean? Some trust issues and all that good shit. This episode might get a little deeper because we're going to make sense of some race today, right? There was some things that happened over the weekend that really affected me. You know what I mean? And you know how serious I get when it comes to terrorist attacks and racism and all that stuff. Like, I'm very passionate about that type of shit. And unfortunately, there were some instances that happened overseas that we're going to touch on. Some things that happened with some famous comedians that we're going to touch on. Some things that happened in fucking Connecticut, of all places, that we're going to touch on. But I wanted to take the time to say something real quick. Excuse me. If you're watching on YouTube and all that, you'll see this nice terrible towel in the background, right? It's a symbol not just for the football team I love, but from the city I love and the city I'm from, and that's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you didn't know, right? And there was last year in June of 2018, Antwon Rose. If you don't know his name, he was a 17-year-old kid who was gunned down by a white officer after fleeing a vehicle that was reportedly in a drive-by shooting a little earlier. Now, just to add some context, someone turned themselves in for that drive-by shooting, and it wasn't Antwon Rose, and that was last week. His trial, the officer's trial, started today. It started with some testimony and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, I already kind of know the result before it happens. Like, as a black person, you kind of figure the result. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know how the justice system works.
Exactly. And that's why I think OJ was such a shock to people, because they expected, the nigga to go to jail. And he beat the case, which is why so many people were standing behind OJ. But you already know if a black man goes to court, you already expect the worst, right? You don't expect any justice. There was no justice for Rodney King. There was no justice for Philando Castile. There was no justice.
Shit, the only person that seems to be getting
Trayvon Martin.
I wouldn't even say it's justice, but the only person that seems to be beating court cases is R. Kelly. And we all know that nigga's guilty.
Stays beating fucking court cases, right? But Sandra Bland, like there so many people. I like you can't even I need a list. I need to write a list of all the names that haven't received justice, and it's unfortunate. And like I said, I kind of already expect what's going to happen, but from the bottom of my heart, and you know, I know a lot of people from Pittsburgh are listening. They more than likely are black, right? But if you can reach out to, you know, this podcast out to any white people, right, or anyone who feels a little bit differently than the black community does, I just hope that the city of Pittsburgh will finally do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, officers should not be immune to justice, period. At all. Let me tell you something real quick. I served in the military, right? I was in the U.S. Navy for 5 years. And in the military, when you're training for security, we have something called a deadly force triangle, right? Now, the deadly force triangle, you need 3 mitigating factors before you can use deadly force. So when I'm standing on watch, I got a little, metal nightstick on one side. I got a 9mm on the other, right? Before I pull out that 9mm and I start busting, I have to really assess 3 different things: opportunity, intent, and capability, right? So the assailant or whoever's coming at me, the adversary, needs to have the capability to do harm to himself or others, right? So a knife, a gun, a grenade, a bat, something that can do harm, right? The opportunity to do so, meaning he has to be in a vicinity. If he's wielding around a bat, but he's 100 yards away from you, he does not create a threat for you to go ahead and shoot him, right? And then the most difficult one, intent. That's the tricky one right there, right? And you know, if you're standing watching, it's the middle of the night, and somebody has a pistol in their hand, and they hold it to their side, you can't fire, right? They've not shown that they have the capability. Right, they have the opportunity, but they have not shown the intent to use it. Right. The moment you twitch, the moment your arm goes up, there's some justification there. But, excuse me, all 3 were met. Now, what happens if we shoot them and they aren't met? We get in fucking trouble. We go to captain's mast. We go to fucking UCJ articles. Like, we can get thrown in jail. And the brig for this shit. You have to meet those deadly force triangles. In the United States military, from the time that you sign that dotted line, right, and then go to boot camp, you've basically been given the license to kill. They put a pistol in your hand. If you go to the Marine Corps, they put an assault rifle in your hand. Same thing in the Army. They basically tell you, hey, you're trained to be a killer. Yet you have rules of engagement. Right. You have rules to kill. And so do the fucking cops. But for some reason, in the military, which number one goal is to defend, right? The cops aren't held by the same standard. I think it's bullshit. Right. I think it's complete bullshit. And I just wanted to start the podcast off by saying, the Antwon Rose trial started today. We're all hoping for the best, but we already know how this shit go. And it's really fucking unfortunate. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of unfortunate, our prayers and our hearts go out to everyone in New Zealand, especially in the Muslim community. If you haven't heard, this weekend, there was a terrorist attack. Let's just call it what it is. It's a terrorist attack at a mosque in New Zealand. Okay, 50 people were killed. 50. When dude came in an automatic rifle, assault rifle, and just let loose inside of a mosque while they were praying. Yeah. Okay, and this is happening way too often, especially now. I mean, it's been happening for years, right? It seems like it's more and more frequent. You know what I'm saying? With the Charleston stuff going on in Charleston, with things, I forget which city. The things
going in London, where they were attacking Muslims randomly, throwing acid on them,
like it's just
shooting them.
It's complete bullshit.
It's all over the world.
It's all over the world, and we, especially in America, have been not coerced isn't the right word. I guess we've been brainwashed. Well, the majority of America has been brainwashed into thinking that Muslims are the enemy. First of all, let me put this out there. Muslim is not a race. Right. Muslim is a religion. Right. Stop calling Middle Eastern people fucking Muslims because they're from the fucking Middle East. It's not the way it works. It's not a fucking race. It's a religion. A white person can be a Muslim. Right. A black person can be a Muslim. I know plenty of black Muslims. All right. Muslim is not a fucking race. It's a religion. But yet we treat it like a race. You know what I'm saying? Especially from white side. Let's just be honest, right? Because white terrorism is something that's real. Okay? It's something that we don't talk about, right? And that's why I really wanted to highlight this New Zealand thing, because the New Zealand Prime Minister, she doesn't want to highlight the shooter's name. She doesn't want to show his face, right? She kind of wants to eradicate it and just move on and heal.
Right.
And I get great intentions. You know what I'm saying? I go from the opposite direction. My energy is, I want to know my adversaries. I want to know my enemy. I want to see your face. I want to know your name. Because I subscribe to this. All white people aren't bad. You know what I mean? I know plenty of good. My best friend, God rest his soul, he was white, right? All white people are not bad people. But I want to know my bad neighbors by name and by face.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I cross paths with you, I already know what's going on.
And like we were talking about previously, like if the shooter had been any other race or color, not saying that New Zealand is just trying to hide it or push it under the rug because he's white, but in America, if that was a black shooter shooting up a Catholic mass or something like that, his face would be plastered everywhere.
Oh, 100%.
Everywhere.
They plaster niggas for less. You know what I'm saying? They made sure they threw Michael Brown every single fucking mugshot that they can find. They put it up there.
Right.
Everything negative, they make sure they know your name. They make sure they know your history. They don't mind doing that to black and brown people. Oh, that's easy. You know what I'm saying? But when it's white people, hold up.
Let's not give him attention.
Let's not give him the attention that he was obviously seeking.
Right.
That's all terrorists do. That's what terrorists are. They are attention seekers. They're trying to prove a point and get a point out there.
Right.
So it's a tragic sense, but I ask you this, right? Where do you think this hatred for the Muslim religion, I mean, all religious hatred has been going on for thousands of years, right? Wars were literally fought over Christianity versus this other religion. You know what I'm saying? Like, Christianity, by the way, has killed more people than cigarettes. I'm just going to keep it honest with you, okay? But in America, let's talk about America. Where do you think all this Muslim hatred has spawned from? Like, why is there so much fucking Muslim hatred?
Honestly, it probably dates back to like the beginning of the war in Iraq. Like, these are countries that we invaded that are primarily Muslim.
Now, we have been at war in the Middle East prior to Iraq. I just want to put that out there. But go ahead.
But it's just the first thing that came to mind.
So you're saying it's the war that has people, you have your enemy. Actually, matter of fact,
the war, Osama bin Laden, like...
Right. You know, and it's funny that you say that. Remember the episode of Black Mirror? I think it was Man of War. I can't remember the exact name. It was the one where... the new military had those implants and they saw people as roaches.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? It's kind of I feel like that what you're saying is kind of the same thing in the sense of war. It paints a certain image about a certain group of people that's totally not fair. That's totally not real, right? But if you want to attack the adversary, you have to have that angst, that anger inside of you. You know what I mean? That disgust, that I don't like you vibe, to where you can actually kill. Or watch them be killed and have no sympathy for it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the war, what you said was important, the war in Iraq, which was bullshit in and of itself, right? But that has perpetuated a stereotype about a faith of people. Right.
Even in an area of the world, because even with Trump enforcing the Muslim ban, like...
Now, I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because Donald Trump here... Now, Donald Trump has come out recently and has just been baffled. Like, just why are people trying to hold me accountable? You know what I'm saying? Why are people blaming the attack on New Zealand on me? Poor old Donald Trump. I didn't do anything. I'm in America. That's in New Zealand. Donald Trump has to be held accountable, I think, right? And no, he didn't tell the shooter to go in and shoot Muslim people, right? He is not the president of New Zealand. You know what I'm saying? But he's the president of the most powerful country in the world.
Right, and he feeds into that fear.
And not only feeds it, his word goes beyond just America.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone knows what Donald Trump is talking about in every piece of the world because, again, you're the president of the most powerful nation on the planet, right? And all Donald Trump has been doing since he announced his candidacy is demeaning and fear-mongering black and brown people, right? Period. Like you just said, an entire fucking Muslim ban. Like, how do you ban a faith?
And then it's like he just picked countries. Like,
no, those were strategic. Those were
so?
strategic. I know so. I know for a fact. I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong because I'm going off the top of my head here. It's a little late tonight. But I believe Saudi Arabia was left off the list, right? And I believe U.S. and Saudi Arabia, or Trump and Saudi Arabia, has a relation. Now,
with
again,
oil.
I'm not sure. I'm not even going to speculate. Just me saying Saudi Arabia is a speculation, right? I would have to do a little bit of research since you brought that up. But there's a reason, right? There was a reason behind the countries specifically that he picked. But the overarching theme is, you can't ban an entire faith. Like and that goes back to what I said earlier. They think Muslim is a race,
right?
Not a faith, because he's like an entire Muslim ban. As a matter of fact, in the essence of Donald Trump being fucking racist, let's just call him what he is. A couple of times that Donald Trump has been racist, right? Obviously, when he said that Mexicans were coming over the border to rape and sell drugs and do all this shit, when that's like super false, right? Every metric, every statistic from every reputable, outlet has proved that to be a false statement. Even the caravan of people who are trying to migrate and get away from oppression and all that coming up here, they're not all rapists. They're kids, they're women, they're pregnant. You know what I mean? They're trying to find a better fucking life. They're not coming up here to fuck shit up. Okay, he talked shit about LeBron James. All right, say that LeBron James was just interviewed by the dumbest man on television, another black man, Don Lemon, and that Trump tweeted he made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do.
What?
I mean, you never heard that?
No.
Let me tell you. Okay, tweet about Congressman Maxine Waters, Mama Waters. You know what I'm saying? You know this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Congresswoman Maxine Waters, an extraordinarily low IQ person, has become, together with Nancy Pelosi, the face of the Democratic Party. She has just called for harm to supporters, which he has also done, by the way. So contradiction there, of which there are many, of the Make America Great movement. Be careful what you wish for. Like he continuously throws shots. He called Charlottesville and clearly racial. Yeah. Right? They were white power all over the fucking place. Okay, killed someone. Yeah. There were bad people on both sides. Nigga, where? I only saw one side of bad people.
Exactly. And one side just trying to stand their ground and protest for Black Lives Matter.
That's all I'm saying, but that doesn't matter to Trump because it doesn't matter to Trump's base. Trump needs to be held accountable. I'm curious on your thoughts about that. Do you think Donald Trump deserves some blame for what happened in New Zealand?
I don't think it's fair to say that he indirectly had a part to play in it, because if anybody needs to be accountable, it's the person that did it. They made that their own choice. They made their own actions. They decided to do that on their own, whether they're listening to Donald Trump every single day or things along those lines. So he does feed into that fear of the hate against Muslims, and he should be accountable for the racist shit he says and things that he does. But to say that New Zealand happened because of
I'm not saying New Zealand happened because of him specifically. Yeah. I'm saying his accountability in the way that he's empowered racists to act now. We've seen this.
Well, true. Like, I feel like if Obama was still in office and this happened, he would have already given a speech, apologizing, offering aid, like giving words of condolences to the country to help them get over this hard time. Whereas I don't even know what Donald Trump has said positive.
Well, I think he's just been defending himself this entire time, for being honest, right? But I mean, less about the after effects, right? And more so about what led up to it. I mean, we've seen instances just within the past year of, I forget, there was a white couple who defaced the mosque, right? Wearing the Make America Great Again hat.
So you're saying like Donald Trump fuels people's not right, or
no, it's not
their
a right.
sense of a right that they can do what they want against
he empowers
people,
right? What I remember, I saw a Facebook video a while ago after he first got elected, right? When he was talking, he still is talking about building that wall, and there was some jacked up white dude on the beach, right, talking to an Hispanic person. I'm not going to assume that where they're from, but in somebody of Hispanic origin, right, talking shit. And literally said the word, Donald Trump is going to get y'all the fuck out of here.
I think I saw that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That is Donald Trump and his hateful rhetoric, empowering racists to act on race. Now, remember, racism back in the 1940s through the civil rights movement, it's always been here. But after the civil rights movement, right, we've had to explain racism to white people because they've tried to close the door and become closet racists, in my opinion. It's obvious and blatant racism to anyone who's not white. You know what I'm saying? But now it's always, well, is that really racist? And I don't know why you guys always bringing the race card into it and all this other stuff. Like, white people have tried to make racism a taboo type of topic. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump has eliminated it from being taboo. Now it is of regular ass conversation. It does make those racists, those xenophobic figures, empowers them to do hateful shit. And they're doing it not necessarily in the name of Donald Trump, but when you have somebody in the highest set of power, for like your own home, your own family, the man is normally the at the top of the family tree for lack of a more progressive talk, right? But let's say the man is at the top, and he has a son. What's going to happen normally in a healthy, constructive household? The son is going to try to emulate the father. He's going to follow the example of the most powerful person he knows. The most powerful person in the world is Donald Trump, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? He holds the power. These racists see him as a, God forbid, a fucking role model, right? And his rhetoric about black people, about Mexican people, about Muslim faith people, his rhetoric has empowered them to say, you know what, I fucking agree. And they might have agreed before, but they're not going to tell it to anybody, right? Because the climate of the nation was, that shit ain't right. Now they have a president who's like, yo, nah, go ahead and do that shit. You know what I'm saying? He literally said at one of his rallies, I just want you to knock him out. I'll pay for the lawyer fees. Complete bullshit, right? But he got a fucking standing ovation for that shit. You incite violence. You incite hateful rhetoric. And I think it's ignorant for us to just assume that people think with their own fucking mind, right? And don't see that as something that they can kind of exploit themselves. So I agree.
But that's just where is the shooter, is he American?
No, I believe the shooter was from New Zealand. Okay.
So that's just assuming that this person in New Zealand is watching Donald Trump.
Donald Trump has reach in New Zealand.
No, I understand he has reach all over
Facebook
the world.
Exists.
Right, exactly. But I mean, we're connecting dots that might not even be connectable.
I'm not saying it's not a dot to connect. Like what I feel like what you're trying to do is trying to say cause and effect, right? You're trying to say what I'm trying to assume is that Donald Trump and all of his rhetoric caused what ended up happening. No, I'm not trying to take away any sense of accountability from the shooter. He's a fucking devil. You know what I'm saying? He deserves to die, in my opinion. Right? He took 50 fucking lives of peaceful, praying people. I'm not trying to take any of the focus off of him, right? But since we brought up Donald Trump, you have to be
opening the gates for violent racist shit just to happen.
That's exactly what he's doing. You have the most powerful person in the world, right? Regular Joe's fucking racist schmo, you don't give a fuck about them, right? Who the fuck are they? They're nobody. Donald Trump is the president. If you can be the president and have these type of thoughts and views like Woodrow fucking Wilson did, right? When he endorsed Birth of a Nation, right? It empowers everyone on Birth of a Nation. After he watched it in the White House, he endorsed it. They put that endorsement out to everyone. Why did they do that? Not because of what he said. It's because of who said it. The president said they love this movie. So you have to love this movie, right? The president is saying Muslims are bad people. So Muslims are bad people. If the president's saying it, people are that stupid. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And people are empowered by that shit. That's why the Make America Great Again hat is a symbol in most black people's eyes for hatred.
But it's racism. Crazy like that I found out that was actually a part of the Reagan administration as well. Yeah, the Reagan administration. So it's shocker. I didn't know that Donald Trump didn't come up with that on his own.
Nah, fam. And that's and we all know about the Reagan administration. Right. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't a good look. But, since the Reagan administration, right? Fear mongering. Now, after the Reagan administration came the Bush administration, right? And fear mongering has been going on since the Birth of a Nation, movie. I think in America, that's the first real, from what I can, from my knowledge and how far it goes back, the first time I can really think of fear-mongering in America, right? That the black man in that movie was obviously painted out to be a savage, right? An animal. And who was he going after? The white woman. Right. The poor little white woman. You know what I'm saying? As always, right? Yeah. And that was supposed to put fear not only in white women, but white men as well. Because, in the more, traditional time, that family aspect, the man is at the, at the top of the house, and then he has his wife, and he protects his wife, and he protects his family. You know what I'm saying? And there's this character that you brought over in boats who's looking to, rape them and kill them and hurt them and harm them, and you got to get rid of them. And then the KKK coming in as a savior, riding in like a white knight to save the day from all these niggers, right? That's fear. Yeah. You made black people scary. We watched a great horror documentary, and if you guys got Shudder, it's a streaming service for horror fans, right? They have a great documentary called Horror Noir, right? And it's a history of black people in horror film, right? We watched that a couple nights ago, and it was really, really good. It was really
very informative.
And even they displayed how in horror films, they always had these certain characters. Black people were to be feared. You know what I'm saying? In Night of the Living Dead, the black person was the hero until he wasn't, and he got shot by cops. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been going on for years.
That's why Jordan Peele is so... great. Just to throw that in there.
Yeah,
Us is about to come out.
Right?
But he's changing the game for black people in horror movies.
100%. Absolutely. Like, the fear-monger has been going on even during the Bush administration with the Willie Horton ad, right? Willie Horton, show a black man's face. He's a rapist, a killer, stabbing. And he lets him out for weekends, right? His opponent, I forget who Bush's opponent was. It put fear in white people, fear of the black man. You know what I'm saying? It's been going on. In my opinion, I think let's talk about why fear-mongering is effective, right? Or why I think fear-mongering is effective, especially when it comes to this Muslim thing. And like you said, you kind of started off with the war in Iraq. Terrorists, they're here to kill you. They're here to hurt you. They're here to harm you. And that's complete opposite. Muslims are peaceful people, right? There's Muslims, and then there's radicals. There's radicals in every religion, even in black people, right? There's radical black people out there. Niggas that I do not fucking agree with. You know what I'm saying? Radical white people. We like to call them neo-Nazis. You know what I'm saying? There's radical Muslims, ISIS, things like that. These are an isolated group of people inside of a box. But the way Donald Trump does it, the way that a lot of these racists and xenophobics do it, is that they take that very small, that very small group, and they try to apply it to everyone, and make everything general. And they put fear in stupid people's minds. Let's just call it what it is. People who don't fucking read.
Sheeple.
Okay, sheeple. Oh, that's a really good word. You should tweet that. Like sheeple, Like that's people who don't. They just follow.
They just follow.
It's really fucking sad, man. And I don't really think it's going to change now. According to change, like, is there anything you think we could do? I mean, it's hard, right? Because this has been in the fabric of America for so long. You know what I mean? But what can we continue to do to try to push out the hate? Because hate's not going to win in the long run. That needs to be everybody's mentality. Hate will not win.
I don't know. I feel like our generation is kind of... we're still doing the peaceful protests here and there, but I feel like a lot of us are over that shit. There's a group of people that are really about it that will get violent and go say that, we need to have a civil war and there needs to be a cleansing and all this other shit. That's not really realistic this day and age. Niggas gotta go to work. We gotta make money. Right. But, honestly, I don't know. I would say, like...
It's a difficult question. You can't think of a solution. I'm not asking us to think of a solution right now. I think what you say, the conversation has to continue.
Yeah, you got to educate yourself. You can't be afraid to converse with people of different races. Right. And you have to constantly learn and understand other people. You can't be confined to your own little box, because... then you'll never know. That's why I've always told people, get out of America.
No, for real.
If you travel the world and you really experience things in your life, you just realize how much of in a box Americans are.
Facts.
Like, they're so closed-minded and they're so outdated in their thinking. It's like, just get out of this country and your eyes will just be open to the greatness of the world and other people of other races.
Yeah, experiencing other cultures is extremely important.
Yes.
Me and you both lived in Japan. I love Japanese people.
Yes.
Right, I've been around
Take
the
me
world.
back.
Right,
Jesus.
I've been around the world in the Navy before. You know what I mean? Bounced from port to port. Got to experience different cultures, different sets of people, and then you realize that everybody's kind of the fucking same, dude. They just speak different languages. They might have different traditions in the way they go about the life, but they're still people.
Right.
At the end of the day, all they want is the same thing. They want happiness. They want, you know, protection and stuff for their family. You know what I mean? They want to live good, fruitful lives. They want to have fun. You realize that's most people. Now, yeah, there's a section of people who are out to hurt people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just going to be life. But I think for us, what we can do, like, is continue the conversation. You can't let, and you know, like I said before, I know what the Prime Minister of New Zealand is doing, right? I know what she's trying to do, but man, you have to put these motherfuckers
Confront
on
it.
spot. You got to confront your fears.
Yeah.
Confront them, own them, say their names. You know what I'm saying? Put that shit the fuck out there. Let people constantly know what the fuck is going on. Never let them forget. You see it every year, September 11th. Never forget. Never forget. Never forget. But we're constantly told to forget all the negative shit that happens to fucking minorities.
Right.
Constantly. You know what I'm saying? And I think to really spark that change, you have to put these motherfuckers on blast. You know what I'm saying? God, but like I said, you know, my prayers go to New Zealand and for all the families and all the victims. You know, it's a tragic event, and it's really fucking sad. And racism is just a constant, not only in New Zealand but especially prevalent in America. Okay, which you got anything else to say about New Zealand before we go ahead and move on? All right, bet. So I think the next thing I want to touch on, right, next topic, is this racist bitch from Connecticut. Okay, I forget where she's fucking from, but she's from Connecticut, and it was a viral video, right? Now, have you seen this video yet?
Not in its entirety, because I don't like.
You don't like
I
racist
don't
shit?
like watching racist shit. Like, I really don't. I mean, unless it's like in main news. Yes, I watch the news. But unless it's in the news or something like that, I don't go seeking for those videos. And yeah, I do see them like on my timeline on Facebook and such like that. But I just don't want to see my people getting treated negative like that. Like,
yeah, it's all bad. So we're going to go ahead and let you hear it, right? Let you hear the video and let's see what happened, all right?
You were one of those permanently, motherfucker.
Eric.
Go ahead, I will.
Do it.
Sit down. Don't you dare talk to me in front of my kids like that, motherfucker.
Call the cops because you threatened me.
Watch this.
It's not even worth it.
Watch this. It's right. Because I'm hitting her. That's why. Because they're fucking niggers in these tapes.
Oh, don't say that.
Eric. I said it. Eric. Put your hands on me. Put your hands on me. Come on.
Eric.
Put your hands on me. Put them on me.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. I'm
Eric, come on.
sweetheart.
Eric.
You motherfucker.
Eric.
You motherfucker.
Eric.
I'm a nigger, right?
Eric,
I'm a nigger.
motherfucker. That's right. You're a nigger in these tapes.
Please.
Watch this motherfucker.
Walk away.
Eric, go sit down.
Okay. Eric, go sit down. Fuck you, nigger.
Eric.
Motherfucker. Motherfucker. You motherfucker.
just
All right.
fucking ignorant.
Yeah. Now,
So what's the backstory? Like, did he
I don't
just
fucking
start
know no
recording
backstory.
her?
There don't need to be no backstory. I don't give a fuck about a backstory. Fuck a backstory. Who gives a shit? All right. I don't give a fuck
mean, I just wanna know what led up to that.
Nothing should lead up to that. I don't give a fuck what you did. Right. Nothing's gonna lead up to you calling me a nigga. And what you couldn't hear, unless you watch the video, is them spitting at you.
Yeah,
Her literally
I heard
spits twice, spitting at you. I don't give a fuck about a backstory. Okay. Here's my issue, right? And this type of shit's going on way too fucking often. All right. I'm starting to feel like white people, well, not starting to feel like they are. White people are weaponizing racism against black people. Let me explain what I'm talking about. You see how nigger for her is a trigger word, right? White people believe.
Yeah, motherfucker.
And they're not fuck motherfucker.
She kept saying it.
Nah, motherfucker is whatever. All right, like that's beside the point. Nigga is the problem. The nigger is the issue, and the reason why is because she didn't say that shit. Remember what she started with? Don't talk like that in front of my kids, right? The argument starts to escalate, and her go-to is the N-word. Her go-to is
as
saying
most
nigga.
white people.
Why is that her
Because
go-to?
they know that that's going to incite some type of reaction from you.
Exactly.
And it looks like she wanted them to do something
Exactly.
to her. Of course, as a white person, if you want to make a black person angry, all you got to do is say nigger.
Exactly. And that's the point. That's why I say the backstory means nothing, right? If he did something wrong to her, right? Let's say he did something wrong. I don't fucking know the backstory, but let's say he did. Mm-hmm. Is that justifiable all of a sudden?
I'm not trying to say that I want to know the backstory to justify her actions. I just want to know, how did it go from 0 to 100 so quick? Just being out of curiosity. Now, I'm not trying to give her an excuse because for her to just be like, oh, nigger this, motherfucker that. Like, bitch, control yourself. Because if you're around your children, you shouldn't be talking like that, no way.
Right.
But as a curious human, I still want to know what led to that situation.
I'm not blaming you for being a curious human, all right? And I do think that mode of thinking, right, where you're coming from, has been used against us.
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure.
Well, what led up to it? Well, if he didn't do this, you know what I'm saying? It's used as an excuse.
Situations are different because 9 times out of 10, a black man is getting shot or he's dead or things along those
even
lines.
Situations
and in that situation
like this,
that, nobody was harmed.
Even situations
so
like this,
harmful to want to know what led up.
I'm
to
not
that.
saying it's harmful. Don't take it personal. I'm not sitting there saying that it's harmful or anything. I'm saying that the backstory doesn't fucking matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no situation. As a curious person, just see why the argument started. Okay, fine. But that's really not the central theme here. That's not why she got recorded, because they started arguing. They got recorded because she was fucking being racist, in my opinion. You don't pull out your phone just because of a fucking argument. You pull out your phone and you start recording some shit because you think something's going to happen. Either you think something's going to happen or something's already happened that's questionable. If it's just an argument, if you're at the store and you just get into a little spat with a white person, you pulling out your phone?
In today's age, people are, because they be like, oh, world star.
And what are they saying?
This person is mad. Let's see how this is going to go.
But I didn't hear none of that shit leading up in that video.
Well, the first thing that led up to it was, don't talk to me like that, or don't do something because I'm with my kids.
Mm-hmm. So
that was the first part that we heard.
Okay.
So, I mean, do you think that she did something racist prior to that for them to grab their phone and be like, let me make sure to record this?
I think that she did something that, yes, I feel like there's a reason. As for black people, we're using our phones as proof, as evidence, as to prove our point when we're trying to sit there and say, yo, this is what white people are doing to us. Look. Visualize. This is a social age now. People like to see shit. Okay, watch all this racist stuff. I'm not saying people are being petty, right? Of course, there's Twitter motherfuckers that are out there just starting arguments for the sake of starting arguments. I don't believe in this situation that this couple, whoever they were, right, was starting an argument with her, or started some shit for clout, or started some shit just to record it. I feel like something what led up to that caused her to pull out that phone was I guess a premonition, for lack of a better term, right, of her predicting, you know what, this shit might go left. Right. And let me go ahead and record it before, this white person there says, no, they were the ones who were doing that. But back to the nigga thing, because that's really what I want to talk about, the racism involved in all of this, right? And the racism involved in it is weaponizing race. White people know that for majority of black people, nigga is a trigger word, right? And you heard it in the video. No, I think his name was Eric, right? She was saying, no, Eric, stop, right? Now, for me, motherfucker like me, if you call me a nigga, I'm going to really have to think about it. You know what I mean? I got a job I got to worry about. I got clearances I got to make sure I maintain, right? But in the heat of the moment, I probably would swing. And you wouldn't want me to. And like, David, no, don't do it, right? It's not really a trigger word for me, but your intent behind it is what pisses me off, because clearly you're saying that almost like when do something when you jump at a motherfucker, like what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And that's, you're taunting me with the nigga word, huh? You know what I'm saying? Now I can take the high road, like our Queen Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we go high, right? But I subscribe to Uncle Charlotte's motherfucking saying, when they go low, we hit the motherfucking flow with them. All right, because I don't have a problem with being motherfucking petty. I don't got a problem with whooping a little ass to prove a fucking point. You know what I'm saying? Because in my opinion, she walks away from that scot-free, right? I know she already resigned from her position at her school. She worked for a school board, right? She resigned for her position. All right, yeah, she resigned. You know what I'm saying? She, instead of getting fired, which to me isn't justice at all. Like, you quit before they fired you for a reason. That's not on your record, okay? But I feel like she has a license to do it again. She learned absolutely no lessons.
No, and that's probably not the first time she's done it.
That's my point. I feel like if Eric would have threw a can of soup or some shit at her and knocked her in her fucking forehead or something like that, a lesson would be learned. You know what I'm saying? You have to. I feel like I don't know, man. I feel like if we being too goddamn nice, in my opinion.
I don't know if it's necessarily being nice or just not
being
giving
smart.
the power to white people. Like,
I can see that.
I mean, a white person can look me in my face and call me a nigga all they want, and I'd be like, okay, and I'm walking away. Like, fuck you too, bitch.
I mean,
and I'm going about my day. Like,
I mean, it depends.
But I mean, it all depends on the person. Some people get really mad and pissed off when they're called a nigga by a white person.
Well, I think it also depends on the situation too. Like, I mean, being honest with you, because if the situation is of aggression,
I mean, if you
right?
spit at me and call me
if you spit at me at any point in time, I'm whooping ass. Like, it's time to go.
But if you're just like, fuck you, nigga, motherfucker, blah, 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 okay.
But see, my thing is, that's why I said every situation is different. Every walk of life in terms of black people is different.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame anyone for their reaction.
No, not
I'm
at
not
all.
going to say that you went overboard if you swung. I'm not going to say that you didn't do enough, right? I'm saying that there's a time to be nice and there's a time not to be. And her intent was vile. It was vicious. She was approaching me. She was giving me all those three things to whoop her motherfucking ass.
Right, because she wanted to be as mean and nasty and negative to you as possible without touching you.
And that's why I said the situation. It to me, it's situational. If that's a 6'4" white dude and he's like coming at me, what's up, nigga? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're being aggressive. You're trying to do something. Now let's get it cracking. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the nigga isn't necessarily the trigger. It's the intent that you have behind it. And white people now are just weaponizing that word, in my opinion, just way too motherfucking much.
With the hard R.
With the
she
fucking
was hard on
She
that
was
R.
super hard, right?
God damn.
Oh, goofy ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I mean. She knew that me saying this word, right, is going to demean them. That's what nigga is. It's just a demeaning term. It's something to bring you down another level. Now, we've turned it into a term of endearment, right? My nigga and all that good shit. But she wanted to bring you back to 1922 or, 1846 or whatever the fuck it was when you were beneath her. That's what she's saying. You're just a nigger, right? Like, okay, and bitch.
It's like, even our comeback don't even hit like that. What, you're just a cracker? Like, what's our comeback?
I mean, I don't know, man. Crack ass cracker hit pretty nice. You know what I'm saying?
I just gotta be harder on the R.
You got cracker ass cracker. You know what I mean? You gotta hit them hard. You gotta hit them where it hurts. Give them a little shoulder. Cracker ass cracker. You know what I mean? No, you gotta throw flair on. That's when they really don't like it. When you throw ebonics on the shit, you give it a little bit of, a little bit of soul in it. Little crack ass cracker. What the fuck? It's cracker, sir. You know what I mean? Like, super shit like that. Now it's funny because I'm in the book now on this podcast. As long as when did Donald Trump get elected? 2016, right? I think it was 2016. So until like 2020, I'm on Trump's on my hit list. So you'll hear me blame him for everything. Well, not for everything, but for a fair amount of shit because I feel like shit rolls downhill. Leadership starts from the top. President Obama. Obama wasn't a perfect president. Okay, some of his policies I didn't agree with. The people he took care of. I mean, we can go into that in a different time. Right. But one thing that he always exemplified was leadership and how a president is supposed to act. Professionalism at its highest form. God. Never heard any scandals from him. No tweets from that president unless it was endearing tweets or like supporting shit. You know what I mean? None of that. Donald Trump has completely turned that shit the fuck over, right? And I think that that's important because again, he's the most powerful person in the world, right? When Barack Obama was in office, it gave black people a sense of pride. Right. You know what I mean? They carried themselves a little different. Shoulders was a little bit higher. Chest stuck out a little bit, right? Because their leader, the motherfucking leader of the free world, looked just like them. Right. And he acted a certain way. Right. And got a certain reception. Something to aspire to. Exactly. And you think white people ain't looking for something to aspire to? It's Donald Trump. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. It is what it is. Right? They think they liked Obama in office? Fuck no. The next guy that rolls in is this guy? Wait a minute. And he's talking about racist shit? Hold on, wait. He's saying black and brown people are what? whoa, I can say this shit too. That's what I'm saying. Yes, it's naive. Yes, it's childish. Yes, it's stupid to assume that really people are influenced like that.
Sheeple, yes.
Big
sheeple.
fucking time. I think Donald, a lot of the racial components in America and beyond, since he's been in office, can be directly attributed back to him and back to what he's let go. I harken back to Charlotte. There's bad people on both sides. He's making excuses for people. He's endorsed known racist. I mean, he himself has done racist shit in the past and has gotten away with it. And you think that doesn't empower these white people to come out and say this shit? Now, I'm not saying that if Obama was in office, anything would have been different. You know what I mean? If she has hate in her heart, she was just waiting for a moment to bring it out. You know what I mean? To whip out her hate. But at the same time, I feel like there is a level of comfortability in that white people have, and not just, I mean, other races too, if they have some racial, hatred inside of them. But I do feel like Donald Trump has given them an avenue.
Yeah, a platform.
Right. To display this racial shit.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And it's really sad. You know what I mean? Now, what the fuck can we do about it?
Well, I mean, I am proud of us as people because, I mean, not everybody would just pull out the phone to record her and then just go about their day. Somebody would have picked up that can of soup and threw it at her ass or beat her down. Like, I think maybe that's one
Eric
way.
Eric was trying to go ahead and throw that. He was trying to throw something, man, because they was sitting there like, hey, no, don't do it. No, don't do it. Man, I'm like,
but
nigga,
I mean,
you
maybe
do that
that
shit.
is one way to try to get past racism, is not giving words like nigger and these crazy ass white people that energy that they're seeking. Like, yeah, it's hard as fuck to turn the other cheek. Yeah, it's hard to take the high road. And yeah, we shouldn't be the ones to do it because we're not the ones that, are doing anything wrong. But sometimes that shit sucks and you just need to walk away, or you just need to show that person some love and compassion. And
you showing somebody love and compassion?
I mean, no, not her, but
I'm about to say, like, you ain't, I don't think, okay.
We're not there
love
yet.
And compassion.
We're not taking the Gandhi way.
I'm not doing that shit.
MLK,
like, loving, no, what?
they said love, not
MLK,
hate.
but Malcolm X said, yo, fuck these white people. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of what Malcolm X said, yo. And not saying that, and not to disrespect Dr. Martin Luther King or his views or anything like that, right? But to me, the peaceful approach has only gotten us so far. Now, I think there's a level of professionalism that you can show, a level of maturity, I guess, that you can show and say, yeah, I'm the bigger person. But here's my thing. I don't. Everybody ain't got to be the bigger person. You know what I mean?
They don't.
I'm not in a position to where I think if I wasn't the bigger person, it would be a detriment to my community. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I have the freedom to take a couple swings and a couple swipes. But I don't think that type of hatred, like when I say we're going to kill hate with love, I'm not saying I'm going to combat it directly with love. I'm not the type of nigga to put the flower in the gun. You know what I'm saying? And say, nah, peace. That ain't me. What I'm saying is I'm not going to promote or perpetuate that shit. I'm going to make sure that when I walk and the way that I move and the way that I, shout these things from the rooftop is that, you know what? Fuck all these racists and what they got going on. I hope they all, burn in hell. Let's keep it honest, right? The way the rest of society is going to move is of a place of love, that we all love each other, you know what I mean, and everything else. And that's going to shine more than the hatred does.
Right.
But I don't feel like we should just, not necessarily saying love the haters, right? But I don't think that we should either turn a blind eye to them, not speak about them. I think they need to be put on blast. They need to be put on Front Street, and we need to address them as such. You know what I'm saying? And then once we're done with them, we continue what we was doing with love and peace. You feel me? I mean, now, unfortunately, there are some black people who really don't subscribe to that same thing, right?
I mean, it could be a double-edged sword. I mean,
absolutely.
damned if you do, damned if you don't. What the fuck do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I say, unfortunately, there's some black people that don't subscribe to that, there are some black people who have some racist qualities too.
Oh yeah, true.
Like your girl Jess Hilarious. Well, not your girl, because you don't really fuck with shorty like that. But
never watched a video of hers.
But she is famous, right? She is a socialite, right? She's big on Instagram and social media and such. So she's created a good career for herself. And for the most part, I've been very, very proud of Jess Hilarious. You know what I'm saying? As a black woman in the media industry, she's on TV shows now, the Morel Show. You know what I mean? She made Wild and Out. You know what I mean? Like she's making moves and she was doing things. You know what I'm saying? And I was extremely proud of her. And this made me extremely disappointed. So recently, Jess Hilarious was on a plane, and there were four chic passengers that were on the plane. And if you don't know what a chic is, Google it. All right, but they wear certain head garment, and they wear a turban on their heads, right, as a part of their faith. And Jess Hilarious had this to say. Go ahead and take a listen.
We're on our flight. Where are you going? Where are you going? If I'm scared, I'm scared. Fuck y'all. Fuck how y'all feel. Y'all mad at me because I don't side with every other black person. Because I don't side with every other race. Fuck y'all. I feel how I feel. I felt threatened, and that was it. Fuck y'all. And I'm not flying there. We were evacuated, bitch. Why? Why? With no reason explained at all. No technical difficulties or nothing. Y'all gonna listen to Jess with the Mess one day. Because my news is real. So how ironic is it that we boarded the same plane and I don't see those people? Yeah, we're fully boarded. Eat my ass. I'm just the mess. And my news be real. Tune in.
Ignorant.
Yo.
Ignorant.
It was super ignorant. Super ignorant. And it's massively disappointing. Oh, you about to say something?
Although it is super ignorant, I would not be honest with myself if I didn't say that back in like 9/11 time frames when all that shit was going on, if I did see someone with a turban on, I did have some type of fear. Now, I don't know if that was ignorance or it was the media playing into my ideologies or things along those lines, but well, I have been in that position.
Let me put it like this. How old were you in 2011?
11.
All right. That's a grown-ass woman that's talking right now.
No. I'm not trying to defend her or say anything along those lines.
That's not what I'm
just
saying.
Saying, like, I'm not being honest with myself if I don't say
You're missing my point. You had no maturity at 11 years old. You didn't know the fucking world. You don't know how the world operates. You didn't know cultures and things. I know you bounced around, you know what I'm saying? But you didn't understand cultures and people and differences like that. You were ignorant. You were still green at 11. This is a grown-ass fucking woman who's been through high school, who's seen the world, who shouldn't be able to read and see. And you know what I'm saying? You had a piece of ignorance with you, right? That was associated with your youth. So I get that. You were young. You're not young anymore. Right. You don't think like that.
No, I'm
as
not
the same as 11,
now,
right?
No.
That's what I'm saying. It's growth. It's getting past it. She's an adult, which makes it worse. If this was a fucking 13-year-old kid, I would say you don't know no goddamn better, right? Just like I'll say you at 11. You don't know no fucking better. You know better now.
Right.
And so should she. Now, to be fair,
she knows better now.
She knows better now. Now, she issued an apology, and I want to be fair here, right? I'm going to play, the apology is about 4.5 minutes long, so bear the fuck with me, and I'm going to tell you again, it's 4.5 minutes long. So if you heard it already, skip 4.5 minutes forward, and you'll get fucking past it, all right? But I want to give her the opportunity to say her full apology so we don't leave anything out, you know what I mean? Just to be fair, so we can get her whole side of the story. So this was Jess Hilarious's full apology that she came out with. I think it was today.
Yeah,
Here
it
it
is
is.
today.
Hey y'all, what's going on? I know the situation that I'm in now. It's had my head fucked up as it should. So I've been choked up about it. It's really been bothering me that there's being a picture painted of me like I'm a xenophobe or, you know, I'm racist, you know, prejudiced, or, you know. So I wrote a statement. And I wrote this myself. Sorry, I didn't go hire a publicist to get me through this or, you know, write it for me. But I feel like nobody can say what I want to say like me. I don't need nobody talking for me. So here it goes. So naturally, in my previous post, I was defensive. But that happens when you don't take the time to really know what's transpiring.
In understanding the error of my actions, I have to first acknowledge the rooted issues, which means racially profiling a group of individuals based on their appearance. And on top of that, publicizing it on a platform where others could be hurt by it and others were hurt from it. The feeling of anger and hurt about this situation is very familiar to me, especially being a Black woman. So I should definitely empathize more with being racially profiled. On top of that, the climate that this country is in, that didn't do nothing but add fuel to a wildfire that we still fighting to contain. I'm not sure if these particular individuals that were on the plane are aware of my actions by now, but either way, I would love to apologize personally to them first, for my insensitive and ignorant behavior. Yet, I still would like to apologize to all of you who were aware and offended by my actions. Sadly, I had no knowledge of the tragedy in New Zealand until after my video, which doesn't in any way excuse my behavior. I already know that. Nothing excuses it. But it opened up my eyes to a matter of ignorance as a habit that usually invokes hate. I refuse to teach, spread, or be an advocate for hatred. I just want to make people laugh. Bear with me. I'm still learning. And when I say, I'm still learning, I was unaware of Sikhs as well. A lot of them reached out to me, educating me on who they are and, what they stand for and, how they help the world in different ways. I didn't know that. I am ignorant to a lot of shit. Honestly, I'm young. I'm growing in this shit. And I don't understand the power that I have, so I'm learning in it and I'm growing in it. At the same time, I didn't get anybody kicked off of a plane. I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't get nobody kicked off of a plane for real. So y'all can stop saying that. I know what the blogs look like. I know how it looks. But I didn't do that. So I'm donating $15,000 to those families in New Zealand. And I will later post the links just in case you guys want to donate as well. But I am sorry. I'm sorry to the Sikhs. I'm sorry to the Muslims. I'm sorry to that person on the plane. Because one thing I've never been is a person who bashes religion, a person that bashes other races, amongst anything, period. So I am sorry. I apologize wholeheartedly. And, a lot of people say, oh, she only apologizing because she got called out. Nah, I'm apologizing because it's a whole community of people out there that I've offended and I didn't know of. I didn't know them, So I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I was unaware. Thank you for those who reached out to teach me. And I will do better.
All right. You accept her apology, Skyler?
This is such a world of, do we accept this?
Yes
do we
or no?
accept that? I mean,
answer the question.
No, because do I formally accept it? No, because I'm not your friend, bitch. I don't know you from a can of paint. But do I feel that she is regretful for what she did? I do.
So you feel like her apology is legitimate?
I do. Yeah, I don't think it's bullshit.
Too. I think it's legitimate too.
Me personally accepting it, girl, I don't know you.
All right. I'm not saying you have to personally accept her apology. Okay, I'm just saying, all right. So you're saying it's a legitimate apology?
Yeah, I think she was sincere.
Cool. So let me ask a larger question. We'll get back into her in a second, but a larger question. The root of all this was race, prejudice, right, or racism, stereotyping, all that good shit. Sikhism is not even a Muslim faith. Right, no. It's classified as an Indian faith, like Buddhism is. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. This is a good question. I think this is pretty. Can black people be racist?
Yes.
100%. There's a lot of people who say black people cannot be racist.
No, they can.
Totally, right?
Yeah.
Do we have secret racism in the black community?
By secret, what do you mean?
I mean, we're not
closet racist.
Closet racist. Are black people some closet racists?
We can be.
We can be against who? Everybody?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just, and I bring this up because black people aren't really associated with racism. They're not associated with being the oppressor. They're associated with being the oppressed, rightfully so, because we are the oppressed. Okay? But the mentality amongst a lot of black people is, because I am the oppressed,
I can't be racist.
I can't be racist. Right? Now, I can kind of see what you're talking about if you're talking about white people, right? Who are your direct oppressors. But this wasn't white people that she had an issue with. This was Sikh people, right? A different religion. So I think that blows up. Like, it's a general statement to say black people can't be racist, right? Black people can't be racist about white people. Yeah, we can get into a debate with that. I think there might be some type of prejudice, at least, with black people. Now, there's a more progressive feel, right? And I feel like where Jess is from, you know what I mean? Now, she said there's ignorance, right?
Yeah,
she's like,
100%.
she didn't know. And I'm totally with her about teach me and help me learn, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like this cancel culture that's going on right now is complete fucking bullshit. You want to cancel everybody for every fucking small thing. There's no sense of growth.
None.
Right? And you've known me for what, 5 years, right? We've been seeing each other for 5 years now. Am I the same person that I was when I was?
Hell no.
So, all right, bet. Okay, you didn't even let me finish the sentence, but okay, I got you. So, right, I'm completely different, right? Yeah. I was way different back in the past. Why? Growth. You gave me an opportunity to grow and to change, and that includes my mentality. I had some shit with me, right? When I was a teenager, I subscribed to a certain mode of thinking that came from my upbringing, that came from my environment, right? I came from a house that didn't hate white people, but my dad used to tell me, don't you bring no white woman in my house. You know what I mean? Excuse me. I'm not telling my son, don't you bring no white woman in my house. I would prefer you bring a black woman in my house, but I'm not going to tell you don't bring a white woman in my motherfucking house. You love who you love. You know what I'm saying? There's growth. Kevin Hart is a great example. You know what I'm saying? Of in the past, he had negative comments and jokes and stuff about the LGBTQ community. And then now he's like, look, I don't think like that anymore.
Right.
I've changed. I've grown up. I'm glad that she's acknowledging that.
The error in her thinking.
Exactly. The error in her ways. You know what I'm saying? I think that that's important, especially for somebody in her position. I'm happy that she's donating money. I can see, right, just to be, I don't know if fair is the word, but to play devil's advocate, I can see the people who are saying you're doing this to save face, which she totally is. I mean, let's just keep it honest. You know what I mean? Now, you might mean the apology, but at the end of the day,
you had to do it because you're a social media light.
What the fuck is that, yo? What does that even mean? All right, I'm going to take over now. So I get what, that was stupid. I get what she's saying.
Like a social influencer.
She's a social media.
So her money
shit down there. I'm going to tweet the fuck out of that. Just wait.
Her money comes from social media. So you have to have a mass following to make your money.
Right.
So if you start losing followers, if people start leaving hate comments on everything you post, like, get that 9-to-5 girl, because shit is done.
So yeah, she had to apologize.
Yeah, you got to.
You know what I mean? And I'm glad that she did. I'm glad she's trying to learn. But I feel like that's a thought process that might actually ring through a lot of black people as well. And we don't want to admit it. I don't think we like to admit that we might have some racist tendencies inside of us. You know what I mean? I know I do. Every time I go on a fucking train every single day in the morning to go to work, my hatred of white people increases by like 500%. All right. And I bitch so motherfucking much about white people. You know what I'm saying? That I have to catch myself like, damn, am I really... I might be fucking racist, yo. Like, you know what I'm saying? I really might not fuck with white people like that. Because I've been going fuck in.
You see a white person in a trench coat, like,
yo, fam, if you see a white person in the trench coat.
At the movies.
When it's not cold outside, you just sitting there like, no, I don't know. You know what I mean? But I think
Is that racist?
Is it? I don't know. Maybe. But I think see, that's what I'm saying. I think we got to sit back and like, wait a minute, is that really fucking racist? But we're gonna have a lot of niggas who listen to the show gonna be like, nigga, nah, you ain't racist. Fuck the white motherfuckers. Right. Yeah, if I saw a motherfucking white person in a trench coat, I'm going to the other side of the street. You know what I'm saying? Now, back to this cancel culture, because I want to bring that up real quick, because a lot of people are still canceling Jess Hilarious, right? And let me take this small bit of time to talk about cancel culture and why it's complete bullshit, okay? Not only from the fact that you don't allow people to grow and change, right? Which I'm sure the same people who are canceling her would like that olive branch extended. They fucked up, right? But also, are you really canceling them? Remember a long time ago, right, of last year or so, when Kanye West went on TMZ and said slavery was a choice, and then like a million niggas came out and they was like, yo, we're canceling the fuck out of Kanye West. And then Kanye dropped an album that sold, didn't sell great, but it sold, and Kanye West, you know, produced other albums that sold, clothing lines that have come out, Yeezys. Y'all niggas are still putting them Yeezys on your feet. I see that shit. You didn't really cancel anyone. That's why I feel like if you want to be made to feel important when you do the cancel culture, right? Because on social media, as a regular ass person, you're no one. I mean, you know what I mean? That's why we
just a drop in the pond.
Right, but that's why we're so addicted to it. You know what I'm saying? Because we want to be somebody, right? And I feel like we want to put our stamp on society. We want to have some type of feeling of
validation.
To be valid. And I think that's why people, I'm gonna fix the earring again. It's just starting to get on my nerves, fam. I feel like you said, like validation. You know what I mean? And I feel like when you sit there and you say, nope, you're canceled, you ain't really mean. You know, I don't think most of these people really mean that shit. I feel like half the people who say they canceled picked up Kanye's album when it dropped just to give it a listen, see what he was talking about. You know what I'm saying? I feel like half the people who say, nope, Jess Hilarious is canceled are still following her on Twitter and all that just so that they can tell her, no, bitch, you're canceled. You know what I mean? You want to put your staple on society so bad, right? Cancel culture is just fucking dumb. 100% all the fuck way around. I do not feel like Jess Hilarious needs to be canceled. She don't need to be canceled for shit. She needs to be taught. She needs to learn, right? She needs to do better and learn to just shut the fuck up sometimes. Everything don't need to go on fucking social media. You know what I'm saying? But to cancel her completely, to stop her bag, to stop her growth, I think is complete bullshit.
I agree.
If I'm being honest. Now, you already said you believe her in
I thought her
in the authenticity of her apology.
Yeah, it was sincere in my opinion.
I think it was sincere too. I think we need to give Jess Hilarious a break.
People make mistakes. Like if our everyday lives were under the spotlight of social media, I'm pretty sure people would want to cancel a lot of us.
Oh, me, 100%. Like I'm surprised niggas didn't cancel me already.
And say fucked up shit. It's just not magnified times 10.
Check my Twitter and see what I said about Planet Fitness today. All right, and
he was big mad,
super mad. But that's yeah, but whatever. I'm just saying, like. So yeah, well, I'll say this from the Make It Make Sense podcast. Jess Hilarious, you're good with us. You know what I mean? Just stop being stupid. You know what I mean?
Stop by and tell us what you learned.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't want her screaming at me and shit. Like not yet. You know what I mean? I don't got time for that Baltimore shit. You know what I'm saying? Like not right now. We just finished The Wire. I don't need to rehash that just yet. But before we end up bowing out, from this episode, I want to mention one more thing about race, right? And it's something that I mentioned on a previous podcast I did with one of my homeboys called Pure Nonsense. And it's about Russell Westbrook. Now, I'm sure you don't know much about the situation because you're not that into sports, but Russell Westbrook, I think it was like either a week ago or this past week, had some issues with a fan in Utah, right? And basically the white fan, Shane Kiesel is his name. I can't forget it because I want everybody to know the scumbag's fucking name. But came out and said, told Russ through the crowd, shout out to him, get on your knees like you used to, right?
What?
And his wife repeated the same thing. Now Russ responded like a real nigga and was like, yo, on my life, I will fuck you up. You ain't your wife too. I'll fuck both of y'all up. Then I should have said quote because that's exactly what he said, right? Now, to speak to the conversation of race. Now, Russell Westbrook, this isn't the first time he had a run-in with race or the first time he had a run-in with race in Utah. Just last year in the playoffs, there was this white dude in the stands clapping it up, calling Russell Westbrook boy. And Russ said nicely the first time, yo, don't call me boy. Did it again. Go, what up? Come on, boy. And then, called security over and got that. Now, both of those fans have been banned from the arena, right, for those actions, right, as they should have been. Now, Russell Westbrook was fined $25,000 for saying what he needs to say. And I'm going to just say real quick, the NBA, there isn't an issue with that with me, right? The NBA is a global brand, all right? And they do have a PR department, and women do watch basketball.
Right.
And if women felt like that was a little domestic violence-y, they need to address that. You know what I mean? Russ has to be... I'm not saying Russ has to be smarter. I'm not saying that at all. But they have to address that. They have to protect their business. I'm not going to get upset with them at that. And $25,000 to a nigga with a $207 million contract is nothing for him, right?
He's good.
But I feel like it speaks to a much bigger issue, especially with Russ. Because Russ is... The issue that a lot of people were having with Russ was that he said that to a woman. Let's harken back to Birth of a Nation. Right. Black man,
poor little
white woman. Right? So everybody was like, nope, Russ shouldn't have said that to a woman. First of all, I don't give a fuck what you got between your goddamn legs. If you disrespect me, you're going to get disrespected. Very simple. You receive the energy that you give. All right? And she gave negative fucking energy, and she got that shit right the fuck back. You know what I mean? But I guess what I'm trying to say in the sense of racism is that, we're never protected when it comes to black people. We never are. People were, they were debating, well, what should Russ have done? You know what I'm saying, in that situation. So let me ask you, completely ignorant, right? Since you don't know a lot about the situation anyway.
Right.
If you were a fly on the wall, all right, and you saw what Russ said and what that woman said, what would you have wanted Russ to do in that situation? What he did? Would you recommend that niggas just say, yo, I'll fuck you up if they mean it? Or what do you think Russ should have did? On the spot.
Well, I mean, there's only a couple things you can do. You can do what you do, say something back. You could walk away, or you could try to get at them and literally try to fuck them up.
What do you think he should have done?
Well, I'm the type of person to just walk away from the situation.
Okay. So you think he should have just said fucking and walked away?
Yeah, fuck you. Like, I probably make more money than you.
No, probably. He definitely makes more money than them.
Like, who gives a fuck what you gotta say?
They weren't on court side. I'll just put it like that. So he definitely makes more money than them.
Like, I mean, I understand there's situations where people will just get under your skin and you will lash out with the first thing that comes to your mind. But in a position where you have money and you're kind of up there, people looking up to you and such, just walk away.
Now, my thing is, I agree with that.
Are you going to say, like, he was defending himself or defending his character?
I'm not going to say he was defending himself, defending his character. I'm saying Russ came from a different upbringing than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Russ came from a different upbringing of, I'm going to disrespect you if you disrespect me. You know what I mean? And I think that, first of all, the NBA, it does it wrong. The fans are way too close to the players, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they have way too much. They're way too fucking close. They gotta separate that shit. You know what I'm saying? You can touch LeBron. You shouldn't be able to do that. You know what I mean? They're adding more security to the venue. That's really not something that's sensible. You know what I mean? You can't really police. Unfortunately, you have to leave it to the public to police themselves. For if you hear that shit, for you to hope that somebody says, yo, that's wrong. Hey, security, get this dude. He's saying some racist shit. But from Russ's perspective, remember back early in this podcast when I was talking about how I would feel about somebody calling me a nigga and how it's kind of a trigger, right? It doesn't stem from just the sense of the word. It's something a lot deeper. I think for Russ, is tired of being disrespected. Yeah. He's tired of being unprotected because the players are not protected in that sense. They make the money for the NBA, and you just allow any Joe Schmo to walk in there and just say whatever the fuck they want to these fans. You know what I mean? Like the Malice in the Palace back in the day was a huge fight with Ron Artest and between the Pacers, and you remember I showed you that video right up in the stands fighting. Fans are coming down the stands, rumbling with the players, throwing beer on the players and shit like that. That's the reason why Ron Artest walked up there in the first place. He got fined and suspended. There's no protection for the players anyway, and people expect the black players to be mature, be morally correct, right? Just take the high road, tick your chin up, and do whatever, right?
But I mean, at the end of the day, they're humans. So
that's my point.
You can't get mad at somebody for having a human reaction to some bullshit.
You don't know Russ's upbringing.
Right, and
You know what I'm
he could have
saying?
did
Like-
more. He could have spit at them. He could have threw something.
Nah,
at
it was
them.
way
Like,
too
he
far to
coulda-
spit, but yeah, I see what you're
He
saying.
could have did something else besides just saying, "I'm gonna fuck you."
Now, first of all, I'm gonna fuck you up. In it's not necessarily a physical threat. Like you can assume that it's a physical threat, but there's no real evidence that.
But I mean,
saying
seeing
it's
a
gonna
big
be
nigga
physical.
like that, they were white.
Yeah,
Yeah,
duh.
so seeing a big
His
nigga
excuse
like
was
that,
bullshit, by the way. He was saying he think no, I didn't say that. I told him that he needs to go ice his knee. Swear to God, is what he fucking said. I'm like, nigga, what the fuck?
That
What?
don't even sound the same.
Don't even sound right. I'm sorry. So in the fourth quarter of the game, you, the Utah fan, told Russ, the Oklahoma City Thunder player, right, the team, to go ice his knee. That you need to sit down and go ice your knee. Is that really shit talk? That's what you thought of. And by the way, Shane Kiesel has deleted his Twitter, right? And the reason why, because that's not suspicious at all. But the reason why he deleted his Twitter was because he had some fucked up things to say about black people. He was a Make America Great Again person, right? He was a MAGA supporter. He called Russ a lot of derogatory fucking words, right? Asshole, all that other good shit. And he had a lot of posts directly associated with Russell Westbrook. So I see why he deleted it, trying to cover up the evidence. But you know, the internet never forgets. They already pulled them shits, them receipts before, you know what I'm saying, before he deleted it. So obviously he came in there with intentions, and it goes back to what I was saying about the intentions of our oppressor, the intentions of these white people. It is to piss us off. It is to agitate us, and I'm not actually saying that it's working, right? But I subscribe to you get the energy that you give. You know what I mean? If you keep putting out this racist shit, eventually the revolution is going to come. Eventually somebody's going to have a breaking point, and I think for Russ, the unfairness in this whole situation is that it's unfair to have the expectation that Russ acts the way you want him to act. You know what I'm saying? I think that that's completely unfair. I think that for black people, you need to look at the reaction and you need to look at the situation and figure it out from there. I think if you really looked at it, you could have said, yeah, this is a white person, a white couple saying derogatory shit towards a black player who's had this instance happen before in the same city, in the same motherfucker arena, by the same race of goddamn people. And it's starting to seem like there's some racist ass shit going on here. And racism is a negative. We can't just take racism on its face. And in my opinion, you can't just turn the other cheek to the shit because it's never going to stop if you continue to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to kind of throw Russ out there because that was something that's been on my mind for a long fucking time. You know what I mean? But I hope we don't play them niggas in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
In other situations like that, just saying like Russ should have took the high road and not did anything. Like, you could also say on the venue, if the venue knows that something like this has happened previously, you should either vamp up security or you should do something where either the rows of people are being monitored or there's some type of
there is security, and the security does have their positions, and adding more security to it is a difficult ask, right? One, money, obviously.
Right.
Two, this isn't an occupying force. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need, I think what needs to be is there just needs to be more separation between the players bench and the crowd. All right. So where if you're shouting shit, it gets muffled like everything else does. Way too close access for that, for one. And two, I think, and it's unfortunate because it's off the expectation and the hope of, you know, humans being, you know, having some humanity, right? But the crowd has to police themselves. You know what I mean? There has to be,
act like adults.
If we were there and we heard that shit, I might have said something like, yo, shut the fuck up. Like, hey, yo, this nigga, he continues to say racist ass fucking shit. If he keeps doing that, I'm gonna fucking hit him. You know what I'm saying? Because racism is wrong in and of itself. But I think that situation is tricky to try to fix.
Yeah.
But I also don't want the perception of Russell Westbrook to be that he's wrong. He's already perceived
I don't think he was wrong.
in a negative fashion. I think he's already perceived in a negative fashion to a lot of fucking people because of his style of play, because he's unapologetic. You know what I'm saying? Because he's such a fucking alpha. Like, he don't give a shit. I fuck with Brody. You know what I mean? And I think that people attach that want to find a way to attach some type of negativity to him. Ooh, look at this aggression. Look at this aggressive black man. You know what I'm saying? This is how he takes out his aggression on innocent white people. You know what I mean? Who didn't say that? That's wrong. And that goes right back to the Willie Lynch theory. That goes right back to Birth of fucking Nation. That goes right back to Willie Horton. It goes right back to making black people out to be these predators, these aggressive, negative fucking people. And goddamn it, it's not right. You know what I mean? But I don't know what we can fucking do about it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a broader discussion that can take 3 fucking hours. You know what I'm saying? To sit there and talk about if we really wanted to dive deep into statistics and all of that. But you got anything else to say? About that, man? I think we found a good wrapping up spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Niggas is getting sweaty over here, so you know what I mean? I think it's about time to tap out. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good.
Anything? Any last final words, final thoughts?
It's time to move. I'm ready to get the fuck up out of America.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, if we can move back to Japan, I totally fucking would in a heartbeat. But you know, that's just us, all right? If y'all guys never had like legitimate gyozas, then you know, you feel me? They just don't know.
Mount Fuji, cherry blossom.
All right, calm down. All right, we live in Virginia. All right, but so I want to thank everyone again for listening. Thank everyone for watching, man. This has been another great episode of Make It Make Sense podcast. I want to thank you, Skyler, for being my guest host again. All right, so I don't have to sit here and talk to myself like a crazy person. So I appreciate that. And for everyone out there listening, thank you. And I will see y'all niggas next time. Peace. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Face, and I want to thank you all for listening to this episode of the Make It Make Sense podcast. Make sure you go ahead and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube page. I want to hear your criticisms, I want to hear your feedback, and I want to hear your opinions on what we were talking about today, all right? Remember, I'm trying to make this the best podcast possible, and for that, I would love the fan input, so go ahead and make sure you holler at me one time, all right? Thank you again for listening to the podcast, and until next time, I will see y'all later.